Hello and welcome back to our Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky 1 playthrough. In our last episode, we finished up the Sky Pirate's base. We freed the airship hostages, didn't find our dad, received a few clues in the post as to what our dad's doing, and then Scheherazade and Olivier decided they'd go back to Relent and we would go forward to a new zone. That ended the first chapter and we are going to proceed with the second right now. Man's voice says, and that's about the gist of the Sky Pirate incident that occurred in northern Liberl. And to think that the bankrupt Capua family drifted all the way down here. You might be contacted by Liberl regarding the incident, so deal with it as you see fit. Yeah, it turns out that I wasn't able to meet him in the end. It seems like something else must have come up. Also, the connection with the Sky Pirate incident is still unknown, but it's clear that another power is at work here. Olivier says, no, it's not like that at all. I've also become acquainted with an interesting bunch. The food's great and there are babes everywhere. This is unquestionably my kind of country. Maybe I'll just take up permanent residence here while I'm at it. All right, there's no need to throw a fit. Anyway, see what else you can find out. Just don't get caught looking into things by the Chancellor. I'll contact you again, my dear friend. I love messing with that guy. He's just so stuffy and uptight that I can't help myself. Woman's voice says, a portable phone, huh? Well, aren't you carrying around quite the nifty gadget? Olivier says, sure are. Scheherazade says, and the fact that you're carrying around an ornament that even the Zeiss Central Factory couldn't create, well, how about you tell me who you really are? Olivier says, come on, Shera, don't treat me like I'm some kind of stranger. I'm Olivier Lenheim, the wandering bard and gifted musician you've come to adore. But if you'd like to get to know me better, I'm sure we could arrange something. A little pillow talk, perhaps? Scheherazade says, how about we skip the foreplay and go straight to the climax? Your cheap antics don't fool me, Olivier. Or should I call you Mr. Erebonian Operative? Olivier laughs. It looks like the title Silver Streak isn't just for show. So I guess you were pretending that you didn't notice in front of Estelle and Joshua, huh? Scheherazade says, I don't want to worry those two any more than they already are. So back to the subject at hand. Why don't you start talking? Who are you? And what are you doing in Liberl? Olivier says, before that, I'm going to have to correct you on 2 points. First off, these cheap antics, as you call them, are totally natural. I'm not play acting or anything. That's just who I am. Scheherazade says, oh, I'm sure. So do you mean to tell me that you drank that wine without paying just because you felt like it? And after that being taken to the Harkin Gate so that you could gather information was all a part of the plan? And you even set yourself up to run into us? I don't think so. Olivier laughs. I'll leave that part up to your imagination. The other thing I must correct you on is that this device is not an ornament. It is an artifact which was unearthed in the Empire. It can piggyback off any orbital communication system, and its transmissions can be encrypted, so there's no worry about them being intercepted. It comes in handy for a busy man such as myself. Scheherazade says, an artifact, like one of the sacred relics the Septine Church has stewardship over. Now I'm all the more curious to know what you're after. Olivier laughs. Oh, no, Shera. You should never try to pry into the secrets of a mysterious beauty all at once. Scheherazade asks, how would you like to get to know a real woman? I'd be more than willing to show you with my whip. Olivier gasps. Shera, I don't see any humour in those eyes. Well, jokes aside. Scheherazade says, you really should have just been straightforward from the beginning. Olivier says, as you've already figured out, my position is like that of an operative in the Empire, but I have no intention of sabotaging anything or stealing classified information. I merely came here to meet a certain someone. Scheherazade asks, a certain someone? Olivier nods. Yes, someone you know all too well. The one lauded as the supreme swordsman and master strategist by the royal army. The bracer with the special title belonging to but 4 people throughout the whole of the entire continent. The divine blade, Cassius Bright, is the one I seek. Chapter 2. Madrigal of the White Magnolia. We're in Pose's North Block. Estelle says, let's see, if we're going to travel around the entire kingdom, then our next destination would be the Ruan region. I wonder which route we should take to get there. Joshua says, about that, so you're really not planning on using an airliner? I really think it's going to be quite the detour if we head there on foot. Estelle says, you remember what Shahara said, right? We need to walk and actually see the places we protect first. Or was it Dad who said that? Joshua says, well, I guess since we have some time in our hands, it wouldn't be a bad thing to head there on foot. We could save the money it would cost to use an airliner. Estelle nods. Great idea. We can use the money we saved to go shopping at the Bose market. After all, we didn't have the time to spend shopping around leisurely during the whole Sky Pirate madness. And then we could leave after that. So what do you think? Joshua sighs. I don't care either way, but try not to waste too much money. Just so you know, in order to enter the Ruan region, we'll need to go through the Krona Pass to the west. Once you're done shopping, let's leave through the west gate. Estelle says, okay, the west gate, right? Well, let's go shopping first. Let's get some purging bombs. What do you have, love? You have all of our cooking materials. I see. Alright, I guess we're going out the west gate. After... Any jobs for us to do? Not just at the moment, by the looks of it. Alright. So we need to get to the Corona parts, which would be that way. Oh, we have crabs. Or halo moles. They have 250 HP, they are weak to water and fire, they can drop flaky potatoes and monster carapaces. They are a monster inhabiting hard bedrock. Its massive claws boast of incredible strength. Ow. Ow. And we got a monster carapace. And we got surprised by a jelly egg.
That's that then. Let's move out.
And we've got a gummy eyeball, and definitely not worth fighting. With only 1 EXP. Now on the Croon Trail. Ow. Double ow. To olive oil. Go us. And we're at the Crone Palace's checkpoint. Estelle says, "Man, we finally made it up here. Once we pass through this checkpoint, we're supposed to be in the Ruan region, right?" Joshua nods. "Yep, that's supposed to be what's on the other side. But unfortunately, it's almost sundown. Maybe we should ask them to let us stay here for the night." Estelle says, "I guess we could do that. But we've also got the option to hurry down through the pass and rest at the inn at the foot of the mountain, right?" Joshua says crossing through the pass at night would be dangerous. With our field of vision limited, we would be on bad footing. There's also the possibility we could fall off a cliff if we were attacked by nocturnal monsters. I wouldn't recommend it. Estelle sighs. "You're right. I guess it could be pretty dangerous. It looks like all we can do is explain our situation to the soldiers at the checkpoint." "Alright, Mr. Soldier." Private Cuttinger says, "Well, this is unusual. We don't get many travellers at this hour. Did you get lost hiking along the trail?" Estelle says, "No, not really. We're bracers, just so you know." Estelle showed the soldier her junior bracer emblem. Private Cuttinger says, "Wow, I'm surprised to see that someone your age is a bracer. So, are you here with work then?" Joshua replies, "No, actually we're travelling around the kingdom to become senior bracers." Estelle says, "And so we figured we'd travel on foot to get in some training instead of using an airliner." Private Cuttinger asks, "You're going to travel around the whole kingdom on foot?" "Maybe it has to do with being young, but kids are certainly fired up these days." Estelle grins. "Maybe that's a bit of an overstatement." Private Cuttinger says, "But I'm going to have to tell you that trying to head down through the pass now would be suicide. Recently, we've had an untold number of monsters appearing in the area. It's quite peculiar, really. We've got a rest stop for travellers, so it would be best to stay there for the night." Estelle says, "Sweet, thanks a bunch." Joshua says, "This will really help us out a lot." Private Cuttinger says, "Don't mention it. Just talk to the Chief Warrant Officer when you're ready to hit the sack. He's in the guard station straight ahead." Well, let's enter. Private Eccles says, "Since this place is at such a high altitude, it gets really cold after dark." I see. We'll rest at the Orphanage station. And continue on. Private Mikey says, "It's almost time for me to go on duty. I'd better hurry up and eat while I can." Chief Warrant Officer Zelsti says, "Huh? And you are?" Joshua says, "We apologize for intruding at this hour, but we were actually wondering." Joshua explained the situation and asked if they could stay the night. Estelle tried to make her eyes as large and yearning as she could in the hopes of scoring some free food as well. Chief Warrant Officer Zelsti says, "I see. Well, that's no problem. I can see from the emblem that you're braces. Feel free to use the room next to here." Estelle says, "We really appreciate this, sir." Estelle says, "So this is the room for travellers, huh?" Joshua says, "Yeah, let's get that fireplace on, shall we?" Estelle sighs. It's so nice and warm. But, wood stoves just feel so much more cozy than these things." Joshua nods. "Yeah, I agree. Orphan stoves may heat up quickly, but they're certainly efficient. But they can't compare with the feel of real wood-burning stove." Estelle says, "True, but these ones are much easier to use." Warrant Officer Cirose says, "Hey, I'm sorry to bother you. I heard from the chief that you'll be staying the night. If you need anything for dinner, we'd be happy to share what we have with you if you'd like." Estelle gasps, "Really?" Joshua says, "That would be wonderful, thanks." Warrant Officer Cirose says, "No worries. After the airliners went into service, the number of travellers coming through here drastically decreased. Honestly, with all the free time we've got, we welcome any guests coming through here." Estelle laughs. "Well, in that case, we'll really make sure to eat up." Warrant Officer Cirose says, "All right then, give us a little time to get supper in order. And full disclosure here, I think it's Usher's night to cook, so I hope your stomachs aren't delicate." Estelle says, "There sure was a lot of rivalry going on over the Sky Pirate incident. But there are quite a few nice soldiers once you start to talk to them on a personal level." Joshua says, "Yeah, that's true. Although I think Liberl is probably about the only place you're going to find nice soldiers." Estelle asks, "What do you mean by that?" Joshua says, "Don't take me too seriously. I was just thinking out loud. In the meantime, let's put our bags down somewhere." Estelle says, "Oh man, I'm so stuffed. They said not to expect much, but the food was pretty good, don't you think?" Joshua nods. "Yeah, it was certainly like nothing I've ever had before." Warrant Officer Sarose says, "Excuse me for disturbing you." Estelle says, "Oh sir, the meal was delicious, thank you so much." Joshua says, "Yes, thank you." Warrant Officer Sarose says, "Really? You must have taste buds of iron too. I mean, I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed it. Anyway, we've had another guest arrive, so if it's not too much trouble, could you two share the same room?" Joshua asks, "Another guest? In the middle of the night like this?" Estelle says they must have some serious guts to be hiking around the mountains at this hour. But no, we don't mind. It's not like we're paying to stay here either. Warrant Officer Sarose says, "I really appreciate that. He's actually in the same line of work as the both of you, so I'm sure you'll get along just fine." Estelle asks, "Huh?" Joshua asks, "The same line of work?" Man's voice says, "I knew I'd seen you two somewhere before." "Oh, it's Redhead Cloud." Estelle gasps, "You're..." Joshua says, "The heavy blade, Agate." Warrant Officer Sarose says, "Oh, so you know each other already, huh? By the way, Agate, what do you plan to do about dinner?" Agate says, "I appreciate the invitation, but I had something before coming up here. All I need is somewhere to crash for the night." Warrant Officer Sarose says, "Understood. Go ahead and divide up the beds amongst yourselves." "All right, good night." Agate says, "Now, if I remember right, weren't you Cassius's kids? What are you doing sleeping in a place like this? And what happened to Scheherazade?" Joshua replies, "Shara returned to relent. Now it's just the two of us travelling together." Estelle says, "We're thinking of making our way around the kingdom in order to become senior bracers. We're going to see the places we want to protect and train so that we can do just that." Agate asks, "Senior bracers, travelling the entire kingdom on foot? You two are really a bunch of carefree brats, aren't you?" Estelle pouts, "What did you just call us?" Agate says, "There's no way the two of you are going to simply become senior bracers. Use your brains, think about it for a moment." Estelle shouts, "Say what you want, but we helped in the arrest of the Sky Pirates. And we've even got some recommendations, so quit treating us like we're a bunch of kids." Agate says, "Oh, that. I heard all about it from old man Lugran. All right, let me put it to you this way. Suppose you had been the only ones there. Do you think you could have solved the incident? Just you two alone, without Shahrazade's help?" Estelle mumbles, "Well..." Joshua says, "I think it would have been very difficult." Agate says, "That's pretty obvious when you think about it, huh? You two are newbies and little brats, to say the least. Not to mention you're lacking in strength and experience. You don't have the ability to make quick, sound judgments. If you get all caught up in yourselves and forget that, one of these days you're going to get the rug pulled out from under you." Estelle pouts, "We're not all caught up in ourselves. How about yourself, Mr. Macho Man? What were you thinking trying to hike through the pass at this hour of the night? You're either plain careless, or maybe that bandana's just a little too tight." Agate growls, "Watch your mouth, brat. I'm trying to hone my skills, unlike you amateurs. And besides, I'm here for work. Don't try and compare my actions to your tourist training." Joshua asks, "Work? For the guild?" Agate nods. "Yeah, that's right. The work your old man forced on me." Estelle asks, "Huh?" Joshua asks, "Dad pushed his work onto you?" Agate says, "Forget about it. I've got an early day ahead of me, so I need to get some rest. You two quit talking and get some sleep too. Estelle growls. He just avoided finishing the conversation. Joshua sighs. Well, he did drop a tidbit about Dad. That's something at least. Agate snaps. Enough already, you two. Just shut the hell up and let me sleep. And you better stop poking around where you shouldn't, or you're going to get burned. Instead, why don't you get your behinds over to Ruan and do some jobs listed on the bulletin board? That's far better suited for the likes of you. And he drops off to sleep. Estelle says, "Hey!" Joshua shakes his head. It looks like he's asleep, and just as quickly as someone I know. Estelle pouts. Don't you even dare suggest that I'm anything like this jerk. What's his deal anyway? It seems to me like all he's trying to do is pick a fight. Joshua says, "Relax, Estelle. It's true we're still just novices at this. It could be that he just said that to us because he was worried about us." Estelle frowns. Do you really think so, Joshua? Joshua replies, I wish I could say for sure, but I don't know. But he definitely did get one thing right. We should turn in for the night. We've still got to hike down through the pass tomorrow. Estelle says, I'm all riled up now, but I guess there's nothing to be done about it. Unless we doodle on this jerk's face and then go to sleep. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't wake up with the way he's snoring. Joshua sighs. Don't even think about it. Private Usher says, sorry to keep you waiting. I'm ready to take over for you. Private Cuttinger says, oh, is it that time already? It really makes me wonder if anyone really needs to stand guard with nobody coming through here. Don't you think it'd be better if we just kept the gate locked all night? Private Usher replies, unfortunately rules are rules and it's our job to follow them. We just got over the Sky Bandit mess and now things seem to be going downhill. Private Cuttinger asks, what's the matter? Private Usher asks, did you hear something? It sounds like some rustling leaves. Private Cuttinger asks, you sure it's not just the wind? There's a growl off in the distance. And some doggies. Private Cuttinger gasps, what the? A pack of wolves? Private Usher cries, you've got to be kidding me. Estelle gasps, what was that? Joshua says, sounds like something's going on. Agate says, I'm going to check it out. You two stay here. Estelle cries, now, just you wait a minute. Joshua says, I think we'd better go see for ourselves, just in case. Estelle nods, of course that's what we should do. Off we go then. Those are some agile wolves. Joshua cries, wolves! Estelle gasps, this is bad news, we'd better hurry and back them up. Agate grunts, hey, forget it, you kids. Estelle cries, why are you trying to stop us from helping? And you call yourself a bracer? Agate says, don't get me wrong, it's just that it's the army's job to protect the checkpoint, not yours. These guys are well trained, so they should be able to take care of them in no time. You'd just be getting in the way. Estelle counters, but I'm pretty sure we could... Chief Warrant Officer Zelsty says, it's just like he says, this is our job. Warrant Officer Sarose said, now get back inside, you three. Estelle protests, but... Agate cries, crap. Estelle asks, what the heck's going on here? Joshua says, Estelle, to the other side. It seems like something's happening on the Ruan side of the checkpoint. Estelle cries, what? They've moved to the other side of the checkpoint. Estelle gasps, incredible. Joshua says he's even stronger than the rumours suggest. Agate said, ha, so you intend to surround me, huh? You're pretty clever for a bunch of mutts. Estelle cries, we've got you covered. Agate cries, hey, get back inside. Estelle grunts, you can't stop us from helping you out. Joshua says, we'll try to help you out without getting in the way. Agate grunts, fine, whatever. Just make sure not to get caught beneath my heavy blade. Whatever you say, red-haired cloud. Okay, we have attack Dobermans. They have 404 HP, they are slightly weak to all elements, they drop nothing. They are a disciplined monster that moves in packs, quickly corners prey with speed and fangs. Alright, red-haired cloud, what do you have? You have water, fire and earth, okay. That is fine. You could spin your sword 3 times, too. Just saying. Estelle says, whew, it looks like we managed to take care of them all. Joshua nods. Yeah, there were a lot of them, and they were pretty formidable. Agate just thinks to himself, it looks like you handled yourselves better than I would have expected. But then again, maybe it's only natural if you learned the basics from your old man. Estelle asks, Agate says, don't get me wrong, I mean you did well for newbies. You're still a heck of a long way off becoming senior bracers, though. Chief Warrant Officer Zelsty cries, hey, was everything okay over here? Agate nods. Yeah, it's all good. We took care of every last one of them. How's your injured guy? Chief Warrant Officer Zelsty says, luckily he just suffered a few minor cuts and bruises. I'm just glad that you happened to be here. Warrant Officer Cirose says, I should have expected as much from the heavy blade Agate. Agate grunts, I didn't do much. And these kids didn't do a half-bad job either. Warrant Officer Cirose says, is that so? Well, thanks to you too then. Estelle says, sure. Chief Warrant Officer Zelsti says, well, we intend to patrol the area just in case. How about you guys get inside and get some rest? Agate says, we'll do that, but you be careful. Agate says, alright, I guess it's time for me to get back to bed. We shouldn't have to worry about any other dangers tonight, so you two be good kids and get some sleep. Estelle says, am I imagining things, or did he just give us a compliment? Joshua says, he may have recognized our ability. Maybe he's a lot more straightforward than we made him out to be. Estelle sighs, I don't know about that. But he certainly talks big, that's for sure. And we spend a night in bed. Joshua says, Estelle, wake up. Estelle yawns. Come on, can't a woman have her beauty sleep? Huh? Joshua? Sorry, water really is a help. Estelle goes on, is it already time to go to the guild? Joshua says, what are you talking about? This is the Crone Pass checkpoint. Estelle stretches. Oh, right. We had that monster scare last night, and... Huh? Where'd the redhead jerk go? Joshua says, it looks like he took off early this morning. Apparently he had an urgent job to attend to. Estelle says, oh. And after we helped him fend off those monsters last night too. How rude of him not to say anything before leaving. Joshua says, it's not that big of a deal, Estelle. How about we get ready ourselves? I'd like to make it through the pass by noon. Estelle nods. All right. It's off to Ruan we go. And it's off to Ruan we go. Estelle says, good morning. Joshua says, good morning. Warrant Officer Cirose says, good morning to yourselves as well. Thanks for helping us out the way you did last night. Estelle laughs. We didn't do much. How about you guys? Did you run into any trouble patrolling the area after that? Warrant Officer Cirose says, nope, everything was fine, like on any normal night. I tell you what, though, that was rather strange. Estelle asks, strange? What was? Warrant Officer Cirose says, you know how the lights along the roads and at the checkpoints have the ability to ward off monsters, right? Well, even if there were monsters that approached the checkpoint, they wouldn't be any more than 2 or 3 in number. So yesterday was the first time I've ever seen them come in a large pack like that. Joshua says, yeah, that is rather strange now that you mention it. Warrant Officer Cirose says, then again, these monsters were small change when compared with the Imperial Army. We should probably just consider it good training in protecting our base of operations. Estelle asks, is that really the issue here? Warrant Officer Cirose says, for us, that's all we're really concerned about. Protecting the checkpoint is paramount. We'll leave figuring out what the monsters were thinking up to you bracers. Now, getting back on topic, you guys are heading over to Ruan, right? Are you ready to fill out the paperwork for your gate pass? Yes, let's do that, shall we? Joshua nods. Yes, thank you. Estelle and Joshua filled out the paperwork to enter the Ruan region. Warrant Officer Sorose says, well, that's that. It looks like you're done here. Enjoy your travels in Ruan. The warrant officer opened the gate. Welcome to the Ruan region. Blue oceans and white magnolias await you. That reminds me, you'll be heading for Ruan City, right? Estelle nods. Yep, that was the plan. Why? Warrant Officer Sorose says, we'll just make sure to report to the guild concerning the incident that happened up here last night. There will be a payment there from the army for helping us out. Estelle gasps. Really? Warrant Officer Sorose nods. Yeah, but you're going to have to divvy your spoils with Agate. Alright, enjoy yourselves and good luck in your endeavour to become a senior braces. Estelle grins. Thanks. Joshua says, we really appreciate everything you've done for us. And off we go. Private Usher says, the attack at the checkpoint last night was good practice. I guess I should be better prepared for an emergency, both in body and in mind. Well, possibly. And off to Ruan we go. On the other side of the Crone Trail. We found an EP charge. This situation seems familiar somehow. Well, the chests do like talking to us. It must be said. And I don't know, it feels weird running from battles just because just because they are absolutely pointless to gaining experience. Anyway, Estelle gasps, wow. Joshua asks, Estelle? Estelle says, hey Joshua, check it out. The ocean. Joshua says, yes, I think I would have figured that out. Estelle gasps, it's so blue and sparkly and just huge. That's what she said. And the sound of the waves and the smell of the tide. So this is what it all feels like. Joshua asks, is this the first time you've seen the ocean? Estelle replies, well, I can kind of sort of remember seeing it when I was really young. I was on an ocean liner with Dad at one time. This might be the first time I've seen it up close, though. Joshua replies, I see. It's been a long while for me as well. We got here by walking, though. No ship this time. Estelle nods. Yep, I feel like we've accomplished something. Well, we got to the seaside by walking. Go us. Oh, hello. What a user? You are a hammerhead. You have 465 HP, you have no elemental weaknesses, you can drop kibbled salt and fish fillets. A strange pelagic monster, a savage pelagic monster that swims through the air, has incredibly strong jaws. Oh. Naughty land shark. Attacking Estelle from behind.
We're good to go.
And we receive some kibbled salt. Oh, 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 hello. Oh. Stove plant. You have 389 HP, you're exceptionally weak to water, you're exceptionally not weak to fire. You can drop prickly seed. A monster emitting bluish-white flames confuses enemies with swirling flames. Oh, look at that. That's just...
Alright, we're good to go.
Got a lily necklace. The chest is as empty as your thieving heart. Oh. Oh. Right, so a lily necklace. I'm presuming that it is an accessory. Prevents confuse. A necklace that gives off a calming floral fragrance. I think I'd best equip that to... Estelle? And on we move. Ow!
Piece of cake.
We got a fish fillet. East, Ruan, 374 yards. Mercia village, 63 yards. South, Verena Lighthouse, 70 yards. Marms. Yes, Marms. We've arrived at Mercia village. Estelle sighs. Civilization at last. And with these pretty white flowers blooming everywhere too. What did you say this place was called? Joshua replies, Mercia. It's a little seaside village with an inn. And the white flowers are a type of hibiscus. Estelle says, they're so pretty. The ocean and the flowers together, it smells great around here. It also makes me kind of hungry. Joshua laughs. Only you could work up an appetite from smelling flowers. Just make sure you eat the food and not the flowers. Estelle grunts. Hey, I'm a growing girl. It's almost noon anyway, so what do you say to lunch? Joshua says, fine by me, but do we have any provisions? Estelle says, why don't we get something local? It's such a nice, quiet little town. I mean, we just got to Ruan. Joshua nods. That's true. Okay, let's go check out the inn and the tavern. This looks more like someone's house. Amelia says, Zach was fired from his job in Ruan, so he came back here. What? Why was Zach fired? Zach can't be fired. Not yet, anyway. I have to wonder if he ever puts any thought into his future. He's sort of... He has a future to a point, let's say. His big sister is always worried about him. Oh, you're Zach. Okay. Zach says, I used to work at the harbour in Ruan, but I came back to the village of my birth. I'll probably wind up settling down right where I was born and raised. The only downside is that my oh-so-delightful sister is here. Lucia says, are you guys travellers? You guys travels. Are you guys travellers? I live over at the inn. You ought to stop in if you have time. Well, thank you. Yes, we will do that. This is the elder's house. Solomon says, oh, are you travellers? If you're looking for a place to eat, I'd suggest you try the White Magnolia. They've got good food and you'll get a fair amount. Start again. They've got good food and you get a fair amount for your money. It's worth checking out. Elder Serge sounds better, yes. Elder Serge says, more travellers, welcome to Mercia. At one time, this village was At one time, this village was quite renowned for its inn. But with the advent of airships, we've seen far less traffic. Nowadays, we survive only because of the famous flowers. I'm sorry to hear that, Serge. Doesn't appear to be anything in here. Not even a Stellazio. Oh, hello, dear. Sadie says, these flowers you see everywhere, they're a breed called Magnolia. Aren't they positively gorgeous? I assume you have magnolias. Azalea fruit. No, not azalea, azalea. Okay. Alright, let's enter the White Magnolia. Alvin says, we're all woodsmen, hikers and mountain nuts here. We came to Mercia so that we could do some climbing in the Crone Mountains. Shelby says, we're self-proclaimed mountaineers. I know Mercia is the best place to set off for a trek up the Crone Mountains. We're just trying to get everything we need to make the climb safely. Good for you. Hello. Die Hard Paella, 500 monies. We ate the Die Hard Paella and learned the Die Hard Paella recipe. Rex says, welcome to the White Magnolia. I don't recall seeing you here before. Are you on vacation? Estelle shakes her head. No, we're just passing through on our way to Ruan. Joshua says we came from Bose by the way of the Krona Pass. Rex says, you're joking. Wow, I never thought I'd meet another person brave enough to handle that place in this day and age. You're into hiking, I assume? Estelle shakes her head. No, not especially. It sure works up an appetite, though. Joshua asks, is there anything you'd particularly recommend? Rex replies, oh yes, I'd suggest trying the box lunch. Estelle asks, what's that? Rex says that windmill at the edge of town has a platform with a great view. Every day at lunch, lots of people buy them and take them there to eat. Estelle grins. Oh, that might be nice. From what you're saying, it sounds like something I'd like. Joshua asks, well, why don't we try it? What kind of box lunches are there? Rex replies, well, there's the smoked ham sandwich and the seafood paella. Either would be good, in my opinion. Estelle says, I think I'll try the sandwich. Joshua says, then I'll have the seafood paella. Rex says, thank you, that will be 120 mira. We received the special boxed lunch. Rex adds, and I'll toss in some herb tea at no charge. It's my speciality. Estelle grins. Thanks. Joshua asks, want to go over to the viewing platform? Estelle says, sure. Well, let's see what else he has. Plucked herb tea. And a vegetable sandwich. Girl in uniform says, I've already checked here. He's not at the general store either. Damn, where could he be? Estelle says, get a move on, Joshua. Joshua says, whoa, Estelle, watch where you're going. Estelle and the girl in the uniform crash into each other. Completely unexpected. Estelle groans, ow. I'm sorry, are you okay? I wasn't paying attention to where I was going, and the girl in uniform replies, no, it's all right. Pardon me, I confess my attention was elsewhere as well. Estelle says, oh, okay. So I guess we're even. Joshua sighs. I swear, Estelle, what are you doing? The girl in uniform looks quizzically at Joshua. Estelle asks, what's wrong? Joshua replies, nothing. I'm sorry if she disturbed you. You're not hurt, I hope. The girl in uniform replies, no, I'm fine. I was looking for someone and I wasn't watching where I was going. Estelle asks, oh, who are you looking for? The girl in uniform replies, a little boy about 10 years old, wearing a cap. I don't suppose you've seen him by any chance? Estelle repeats, a boy in a cap. You see anyone like that, Joshua? Joshua replies, not that I recall, no. The girl in uniform replies, I see. Where could he be? If you'll excuse me, sorry to have caused you any trouble. Estelle asks, Joshua? Hello, calling Joshua. Come in, Joshua. Joshua snaps out of it. Oh, what is it? Estelle sighs. Gee, I wonder. Oh, I get it. I see what's going on. Joshua sighs. What half-baked idea are you cooking up this time? Estelle says, Now, no need to be shy about it. I see the way she set your heart aflutter. Joshua says, absolutely not. I just think I've met her before, a long time ago. I was just surprised. Estelle says, met her before, you say? As pickup lines go, I'd give it 30 points. Joshua says, moving on, don't you recognize her uniform? Estelle says, now that you've mentioned it, isn't that the same outfit that Josette used as a disguise? Joshua replies, yep, the Eunice Royal Academy uniform. Since we're in Ruan, it's not all that surprising to see someone wearing one. Estelle says, so that's the real thing then. She seemed polite and smart, and refined. Totally different from that scruffy, crude pretender, in other words. Joshua asks, what are you talking about? Josette had you completely fooled from the get-go. Estelle pouts. Joshua continues, oh, that's right. You teased me about it then, too. Well, if you get taken for a fool again, don't expect me to help you. Estelle grumbles. Joshua says, instead of picking on me, why not work on becoming a better judge of character? Estelle sighs, all right. Fine, I won't pick on you anymore. Joshua says, good. Now, why don't we go have lunch on the viewing platform? Estelle says, fine. To the viewing platform. Estelle says, wow, check out this view. Joshua nods, yep, you can practically see the entire ocean from here. Estelle says, getting to eat at a nice place like this really makes it feel like you're living it up, huh? Joshua says, it sure does. So, shall we have ourselves a little picnic then? Estelle grins, sure. I'm starving. Estelle says, get a load of this smoked ham sandwich. It smells so good. Joshua says, I'm looking forward to eating my seafood paella personally. I love the smell of saffron. Estelle says, well, let's dig in. Joshua replies, yes, let's. Estelle says, time for that first bite. Nom 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 nom. Wow, it's as good as it smells. The lettuce is super fresh and crunchy. Joshua adds, the paella is really good too, just the right amount of saffron. My compliments to the chef. Estelle asks, hey, can I have a bite? I've never tried paella before. Joshua nods, all right, how about we share? Estelle says, but my hands are full. I know, you can feed me. Joshua gasps, feed you? Estelle nods, yep. Joshua sighs, this is a little embarrassing. Estelle says, oh, it's fine. It's not like anyone's watching. Unless you can let loose, you'll never enjoy yourself. Joshua says, it's not being seen that makes it embarrassing. I don't have much of a choice here, do I? Joshua fed Estelle a bite of the paella. Estelle goes, nom 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 nom. Delicious. That's some pretty fantastic seafood. Don't know what that sweet peppery smell is, but it really adds something. Joshua nods. Yeah, it's pretty good. Estelle says, "Oh, I'm being selfish, aren't I? Okay, give this a try." Estelle pushed her sandwich into Joshua's mouth, perhaps a little too enthusiastically. Joshua goes, "That's pretty tasty, but you really didn't have to do that, you know." Estelle grins. "I know." Estelle says, that hit the spot." Joshua says, "The herbal tea we got with our meals was pretty good." Estelle nods. "Yeah, it was nice and warming without sitting all heavy. The breeze is so nice, makes me kind of sleepy." Joshua says, "They say you shouldn't sleep right after eating, but maybe a little post-meal nap isn't so bad in moderation." Estelle nods. "Yeah." "Huh?" There's a bird flying in. Estelle asks, "Hey, did you see that bird? It looked like a seagull, except it was huge." Joshua nods. "Yeah, the wings were a different shape and the beak was sharp. Maybe it was a falcon or an eagle?" Estelle muses. "A white falcon? Didn't know they made them in that colour. Wonder if it's a sign of good fortune in our future." Joshua laughs. "That would be nice. Hey, I thought you were sleepy." Estelle blushes. "Oh, not anymore, I guess." Joshua says, "Maybe we should get going then. I'd like to check in with the Ruan Guild branch and get all our paperwork squared away." Estelle nods. "Oh, right. Okay, I hate to leave, but I guess we have to. After we do one or two things, I suppose." So Estelle runs into a boy wearing a cap. Estelle says, "Today must be my day for just randomly running into people." The boy wearing a cap says, "Sorry about that. I'm just looking for somebody. Say, you're not from around here, are you?" Estelle shakes her head. "Nope, we're from out of town." "Hey, aren't you—" The boy wearing a cap asks, "What?" Estelle says, "We ran into a girl who said she was looking for a boy who was wearing a cap. You know anything about that?" The boy wearing a cap says, "Oh, I'm looking for her, actually. Where'd you see her?" Estelle replies, over by the tavern. It was a while ago, though, so I'm not sure where she went. Would you like us to help you search?" The boy wearing a cap stammers, "No, that's okay. I'm pretty sure I can find her." "Okay, bye!" And off he runs. Estelle says, "That kid seems pretty energetic. He reminds me a little of Luke back in Ruan. I wonder what the kids are up to now." "What's wrong?" Joshua says, "It might just be my imagination, but have you lost anything?" Estelle asks, "Lost what?" "Anything you're wearing. Like a money pouch or something?" Estelle asks, "Why are you asking all of a sudden?" Let's see. Pouch, check. Hairbands, check. Bracer emblem. Joshua sighs. "I knew it. What the... Where is it? Did I drop it on the mountain pass or something?" Joshua says, "Calm down. I remember that you had it when we were eating lunch. If you lost it, it has to be somewhere around here." Estelle stammers, but, we're around here." "Oh, no way!" Insert Bill and Ted reference here. "No way." "Oh, no way." Joshua says, "Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. It was probably that kid. I'll bet it happened when you accidentally ran in, when he when he accidentally ran into you. Estelle screams, "What? Why would he want my bracer emblem?" Joshua asks, what reason does a kid have for wanting anything? He probably just took it because he could. Estelle grumbles, "Ugh, he is in so much trouble. Once I get my hands on him, he's going to get the spanking of his lifetime." "Ooh, spanking, spanking!" Joshua says, "Now calm down. For now, let's focus on figuring out where he is." "Then the spanking!" Carla says, "A little boy? Nope, I haven't seen him. I did see a girl from the Royal Academy, though." Well, let's just rest anyway. 60 bunnies? Alwyn says, a boy in a cap, eh? I don't think I've seen him." Shelby says, "A little boy? Anything special about him?" Estelle considers. Well, he was wearing a cap and he's kind of a brat." Shelby replies, "Sorry, haven't seen him." Estelle shrugs her shoulders. "Oh well." Yeah. Nothing in here. "I am the great ninja Yuffie. Who's taken my materia?" Solomon asks, "A boy in a cap?" "Sorry, I haven't seen him." Elder Serge says, "A young boy. He hasn't come here." Serge, you're supposed to know everything that goes on. Lucia says, "A boy in a cap? Oh, I know who you mean. I saw him over by the flower shop." Well, let's make for the flower shop then. This was the flower shop, wasn't it? Sadie asks, "Hey, what's wrong?" Estelle says, "I have a question for you. You haven't seen a little boy in a cap around here, have you?" Sadie says, let me think. Was he a student's guest at the Royal Academy?" Estelle nods. "Yes, actually." Joshua asks, "Do you know the boy?" Sadie says, "He's not from this town. I think he's one of the orphans." Estelle asks, "Huh?" Sadie replies, "From Mercia Orphanage." "Through the kingdom of Mercia. A woman called Matron Teresa is the administrator. She takes in kids who have lost their parents. It's just off the Gull Seaside Way to the east." Estelle says, "So the kid lives there?" Joshua says, "Let's go check it out." What we are going to do is see what ingredients that plucked herb tea Yes. Because may require this as a yellow. No, does not require that. Right. You're a general goods. Creta says, some people say the airships are the reason no one comes here anymore, and why all the young people leave. I, for one, enjoy the peace and quiet. I just want a nice, quiet place where I can grow old gracefully. Good for you. Tear balm, purging balm, softening balm, smelling salts, reviving balm, insulating tape, EP charge. Aged miso. Vintage wine. Salted anchovy. Dragon beans, royal leaf, black pepper, red pepper. Right. Let's go find this orphanage. Oh, hello. Crocodark. They're 490 HP, they're slightly weak to every element. They can drop fish fillet, fish fillet, fish eggs. A land monster that appears near water, unbelievably slow, but has a powerful bite. Oh, that is quite powerful, isn't it? Ow!
That's that then. Let's move out.
We got 2 fish eggs and a fish fillet. You received a tear balm. Fill this chest with your tears because it is empty.
Not now.
Try that again, shall we? There.
Not now.
We're good to go.
Not now.
Here I come. Piece of cake.
Yay! Right, let's try this again, shall we? This is a Night Nautilus. It has 839 HP. It has no particular elemental weakness. It can drop an evade 2. It is a large monster living near the sea that emits a blinding shock that explodes when defeated. Ow. Not nice.
All right, we're good to go.
North, Mercia Orphanage. Joshua says, looks like it's up ahead. Estelle nods, yeah. Joshua asks, what's wrong, Estelle? Estelle says, okay, that settles it. The situation has nothing to do with it. It is not okay to take things from people. When we find him, we need to punish him. Joshua laughs. Leave it to you to get all worked up over it. But for right now, you need to just settle down, okay? The spanking! The spanking! I'm sure it's not the worst punishment doled out at this particular orphanage. Mary says, I swear, Clem, where did you go? Miss Chloe is going to be worried about you. Clem says, no she won't. Not after I show her the awesome thing I got. Daniel asks, what did you get, Clem? Clem laughs. Now, don't freak out or anything. I just borrowed it from some crazy lady I ran into. Estelle demands, who are you calling crazy? Clem starts, what? Ah! What are you doing here? Estelle growls, I'm a bracer, give me a little credit. Wherever a delinquent like you goes, we'll figure it out in no time. Clem says, damn it, well, you're not catching me. And off he runs. Estelle shouts, hey, get back here. And off they run together. Mary asks, hey mister, what's going on? Daniel asks, did Clem do something bad again? Joshua says, sorry to barge in like this. Clem cries, damn it, let me go. Let go. I'll sue you for child abuse. Estelle growls, you're a real brat, you know that? Now give me back my emblem. Clem growls, you got no proof I took it. Estelle replies, well, you're right on that one, but that's nothing a quick search won't fix. Clem screams, ah! Hey, cut that out, it tickles. Pervert! Abuse! Estelle says, come on, just give it up and hand over what you took. A girl's voice says, seek. Estelle gasps, what? What the hell was that? The girl in uniform says, get away from the boy. Lay another hand on him and you'll have me to Huh? Estelle says, hey, you're that... The girl in uniform says, I remember you from Mercia. Falcon screeches. Clem says, help me, Miss Chloe. I didn't do anything, and she's being mean to me. Estelle growls, didn't do anything, my butt. You stole my emblem. Your fire emblem, perhaps? Clem says, ha, where's your proof? And no tickling this time. Estelle growls. Joshua says, hey, we meet again. Chloe says, oh, hello. I'm sorry, I thought for sure that a thief had broken in. I assume there's a reason for all this. Mary says, there sure is, Miss Chloe. Clem was being bad again. Daniel says, hey, is the apple pie ready yet? Chloe replies, you'll have to wait a little longer. It still needs time to bake. Estelle growls, you frigate brat. Clem shouts back, child abuser. Mary asks, when are you going to grow up, Clem? Daniel asks, is the pie done yet? Joshua sighs, this has gotten out of hand. Chloe laughs, oh, yes, I suppose it has. Falcon screams again. A woman's voice says, my, what's all the noise? Chloe says, Matron Teresa. Matron Teresa says, I don't know the full story, but it sounds like Clem's been up to no good. Clem says, hey, no fair, I didn't do anything. The pervert lady just says I did. Estelle demands, who are you calling a pervert? Matron Teresa says, oh dear, this won't do. Clem, did you really not do anything? Clem says, of course not. Matron Teresa asks, do you swear to Aidos? Clem says, I swear. Matron Teresa says, I see. It's just that you dropped some kind of badge in the nursery earlier. That wasn't yours, was it? Clem says, but it was in my pants pocket. Estelle says, I told you. Chloe says, oh my. Joshua says, nicely done. Matron Teresa says, Clem, no more excuses. Give her back what you stole. Clem says, all right, I'll give it back, so just drop it. Clem tossed the emblem over to Estelle. Estelle says, whoa. Clem grins, ha, I'm out of here. And off he goes. Chloe yells, Clem! Matron Teresa says, it's all right. He'll be back when he starts getting cold. More to the point, why is everyone standing around? Why don't you tell me the whole story over a cup of tea? Estelle introduced herself and explained about the recent events over a veritable feast of tea and pie. Matron Teresa says, I see. He really isn't a mean-spirited child, but he can be quite the little trickster. As his guardian, I must apologize. I am truly sorry. Estelle says, "Oh, it's okay. I got my emblem back. Plus, I got some tasty herbal tea and apple pie out of it, so we're square." Matron Teresa laughs. "Thank you both." Joshua says, "The tea was really the best part, though. It's just like the kind they brew in the tavern. Is it grown locally?" Matron Teresa says, "Yes, gardening is one of my hobbies, actually. I give some to the barkeep at the tavern whenever I have extra." Estelle says, "Neat. I'm going to have to give my vote to the apple pie, though. It was just plain amazing." Matron Teresa laughs. "Well, I can't take credit for that. She made it." Estelle asks, "She? Who?" "You mean Chloe?" Chloe says, "This is still so embarrassing. I was really rude earlier. To think I could be so mistaken." Estelle says, "Oh, don't worry about it. Apple pie heals all wounds," or something like that. "Besides, I wasn't acting like any kind of saint myself. That white hawk sure surprised the hell out of me, though." Chloe replies, "Oh, that was Zeke. He's a gyrfalcon." Joshua says, "A gyrfalcon? That's Liberl's national bird, isn't it? You seemed really comfortable with him. Is he your pet?" Chloe replies, "No, I don't keep him. He's a close friend, though." Estelle says, "Wow, as friends go, he's pretty awesome. That reminds me, aren't you a student at the Royal Academy? But you live here?" Chloe replies, "No, I stay in the girls' dorm on campus. It's not that far away, so I like to come and visit when I can. I sometimes worry I might be kind of a bother, though." Matron Teresa says, "Oh dear, please don't think that. You're always so helpful when you come by. And the children are always happy to see you." Chloe says, Matron Teresa says, "I personally worry that you might be neglecting your duties at school in favour of us. I know that's a silly concern to have about you." Chloe says, "I won't let you down." Estelle says, "You live on campus, huh? I've always kind of wanted to know what that was like." Joshua replies, "I imagine that we got a weekly taste of it at the church lessons. But isn't the entrance exam for the academy pretty hard?" Estelle sighs. "I think my head would explode if I had to take an exam like that." Chloe laughs. It's not so hard. I think it must be far more difficult to become a bracer. You know, I've always kind of wanted to be one, ever since I was a little girl." Estelle laughs. "I don't even know what to say to that. You call me a bracer, but I'm still just an apprentice." Joshua says, "We have to travel all over the kingdom before we can advance. I think we'll be in Ruan for a little while, though." Matron Teresa says, "In that case, perhaps I'll have a chance to repay you. Plus, the children would love for you to come back and play again. I'll prepare a whole mountain of tea and baked goods." And Chloe, Estelle and Joshua have gone outside alone. Estelle says, "Matron Teresa sure is a nice lady." Joshua adds, "Yes, she's very motherly." Chloe says, "I'm sure all the children here think of her as their mother." Chloe says, "Oh, Zeke, were you waiting for me?" Zeke screeches. Chloe says, "That's right, they're not here to hurt anyone. This is Estelle, and that's Joshua. You remember them, right?" Zeke screeches again. Chloe says, good boy. But Estelle asks, wow, you can actually talk to him? Chloe replies, well, he doesn't actually talk per se, but I can understand what he's trying to say. We've always been able to tell what the other is feeling. Estelle says, whoa, bird telepathy is so cool. Joshua says, sounds like mutual love to me. Chloe nods, it is. Estelle says, hello, Sieg. I'm Estelle. It's nice to meet you. Now, read my mind. Sieg screeches. And again. Then buggers off. Estelle says, oh. Are my thoughts too complex to read? Joshua says, if you were thinking of what I think you were thinking of, then no. Chloe laughs. Oh, by the way, aren't you two headed for Ruan? Estelle says, yeah, we're planning to register at the local guild. If we don't do that, we can't work. Chloe says, well, if you're going to the Ruanian guild, I have a few things to do over there myself. Maybe I could show you around. Estelle says, really? That'd be great. Joshua asks, but don't you have to go back to school soon? Chloe says, no, it's all right. I got special permission to be out today. I don't have to return until after nightfall. Estelle says, sounds like a plan then. Let's go to Ruan. Indeed. And at that point, we shall call an end to the episode and make for Ruan in the next one. So if you've made it this far, thank you very much for watching. We hope you have a wonderful day, and we will see you in the next episode.